Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at multiple snowfall chances in general. We're going to be taking a look at a potential pattern change for the eastern United States because, oh boy, has it been hot. And we're also going to be taking a look at a couple of severe weather chances in this video. Anyways, before I get into this video, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'm not going to be doing a comment of the day because my phone is broken, and I get the screenshots for the end of these videos from my phone. So there will not be one at the end of this video or the next video, and I am picking up a new phone today. So I will be able to guarantee that we can have one in a couple of days. But I can't guarantee that it will all be set up and good to go by tomorrow morning. So that's why I'm not even going to waste anybody's time. But be sure to leave a comment down below. Anyway, let's get straight into this video. And we're taking a look here at our national radar. Now, we had that huge bow echo yesterday. We started streaming when it was about here. And there was already multiple confirmed tornadoes that happened right after we started streaming. And that was really fortunate that we were able to catch that and be there on time, because I was actually planning on streaming later. Now, I'm happy I was able to be there to cover those events that took place. I hope there was no major damage. I haven't heard any news out of those tornadoes yet, so I'm assuming there wasn't anything too crazy. Must have been probably smaller tornadoes, thankfully. But what's interesting is a couple of hours later, our national radar from WSV3 and other sources like Radar Scope that you can get on your phone or on your computer went out nationally. And I had to stop streaming actually a couple hours after I started because there was no time frame in where we knew we would be able to get the radar back, and we basically lost the ability to show you guys what was happening. So that's why we ended the stream early yesterday, unfortunately. But there was over 500 severe weather reports down there yesterday, which is just extreme for any time of year, but especially for December. Now, for the western United States, we do have this precipitation moving onshore for the 10th day in a row at this point, but we have some general storminess here. Rainfall for the coast anywhere to the west of this area I just drew, but out here some snowfall for eastern regions of Oregon. We see northern regions of Nevada, the Sierra Nevadas for sure, and then we see areas near Salt Lake City, areas in Idaho also seeing some of that snowfall. So in general, storminess out west for I don't even know how many days in a row we're seeing that. Now, a lot of these areas, it's all severe weather here in southern Minnesota and areas like that, are now dealing with some snowfall potentially here. We see a lot of that heavier snowfall taking place where that low pressure system is, and it's about here now, but it was about here at the beginning of the radar run there, or maybe even it was about here, better yet, and now it's about here. So we've seen it move up like this. And in general, most of the heaviest snowfall has stayed to the west of that low pressure system. So there is some snowfall coming down where we were just having damaging wind and tornado reports, which is super weird, super wacky. We can see the remnants of that bow echo here moving across. We can see that cold front. So if you are to the east of this region, let's call it like here. If you're in that region, you're going to want to watch out for some potential windiness throughout all of these regions in here, because that is the remnants of what we just saw yesterday. It won't be like yesterday, but there could be some gusty winds, some nuisance winds, and maybe even a little bit of damaging wind along that front. Thankfully, we don't expect severe weather along it any longer, though. Now, for the northeastern United States, we also have had some storminess, mostly to the north of our Massachusetts and Rhode Island and Connecticut borders there. We've seen a lot of storminess, and then north of I would call it Interstate 90 here in New York. So mostly to the north of there, I guess a little bit to the south, but now to the north of it. We've also seen some snowfall here for northern Maine and a bit of the White Mountains. That's come to an end there in northern New Hampshire. And we can see that this rain snow line in Maine has creeped northward as some warmer air is making its way onshore from the coastline there. You can see this rain snow line was almost at the coast, and now it's shoving its way back to about the halfway mark of the state here is where it's approaching at this point. Now, as we take a look at our European model, we can see that storminess onshore of the western United States out there. We can see our low pressure system at 974 here. Monster storm, I mean, that is an understatement. Heavy snowfall here for Minnesota, just like we're seeing right now. We see that front right there, and we also see the storminess up there for the northeastern United States. Let's see how this all plays out, though, as we move this along. You can see that front there moves through those regions again, potentially leaving some windiness for these regions and some rainfall. This storminess that was here kind of moves up into about the northern Rockies, I would say, and then this storminess in the northeast kind of moves out. So we get a little bit of a quieter pattern here. You can see lighter greens, lighter blues, nothing too crazy going on by this point. Let's move it forward a little bit more. And I talked about this, but this front here, the one that did move through, it was about here. It kind of loses out to that warm air and it kind of regresses back and it becomes a bit of a stationary front here. What that ends up doing is it leads towards a lot of precipitation for these regions for a prolonged period of time. So we're going to be watching for a significant amount of rainfall for these regions. But by the time reaching Saturday morning at about 5 a.m., we can see a huge frontal boundary setting up like this. We see Arctic air pouring into the central United States just like this. So let's take a look here at our temperature anomalies to see if that matches up. And look at that. We see the cold air up there for the northern United States pushing through. We can see where those far above normal temperatures are regressing. And as we just move this along, look at that. Moves completely out with that cold front there. And we see cold air replace it right there. We can tell where the cold front is. So let's move back to the simulated radar. And you can see the front is moving offshore. Now, the interesting thing is we see that Miller B nor'easter move offshore of the northeast there. So let's move this back a little bit and watch that play out. So on the northern side of that front, and I do expect some severe weather to be possible for this region with this, by the way. I've been talking about that for days. As this strong cold front moves through, we're going to need to watch for that. But we do see a Miller B nor'easter moving out like this. And this typically leads towards some snowfall here in the very northeastern United States. And we actually see that occur here. And it eventually moves out. So let's just zoom in. Let's zoom in here to the New England states here. That's the Mid-Atlantic. Here, this is what we need to see. Let's take a look at the total snowfall quickly. I don't want to jump all over the place, but yeah, so we see a dusting, if anything, here in the grays. There, in these lighter blues, we see about 2 inches. And it creeps up the coast of Maine there, as you can see, with some mixing taking place. But that's going to be about 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. And then for these purple regions, which I'm going to circle in here, you can hardly see it with the blue drawing I have there. But in the purples here, we have about 6 to 10 inches of snowfall possible. And then the pinks are going to indicate about 10 to maybe just over a foot. I would say 10 to 14 inches here in the Green Mountains. The White Mountains, and then the hilly regions of western New Hampshire as well as some of the regions of northwestern Maine there as well. So some of those mountain ranges we see about 10 inches plus. So it's a quick moving storm, but nevertheless we actually do see quite a bit of snowfall take place there with that Miller B nor'easter. And we've been talking about that Miller B nor'easter for quite a while, which is super interesting. After all that's said and done, we get left with what I would call a cold pattern in the east, but not brutally cold. You can see we have mostly cold centered over this region. A bit of a warm-up for the west. I mean, take a look at that. They went from far below normal temperatures to this, and a huge warm-up here for the central United States. In this blue region, we have about 1 to 7 degrees below normal, but these greens in here that are more centered over the middle of it and the northeastern United States as well, that's where we're about 10 to 15 degrees below what is typical. So that's where we get a little bit more significant with the colder air. Now, this kind of goes into a flip-flop pattern. We get a lot of near normal conditions. Anywhere in this drawing I just drew, so a lot of the eastern United States or the southeastern United States is within 5 degrees of the normal temperatures there, as you can see at the bottom of the screen. So that's what I would consider to be near normal conditions. And that's as we're moving towards Wednesday, December 22nd, by the way. And as we move this towards about almost Christmas Eve, I would say this about 2 a.m. on Christmas Eve, we do see some colder air in the eastern United States, but we also see some cold air pouring into the western United States, which is our negative P&A trying to take place, and we see warm for the middle there. That's what we end up seeing, warm in the middle. Now, as we head towards the heat, the day of Christmas Eve, We do see some cold in the northeastern United States, but in general, the east is mostly featuring some above normal temperatures at this point, and below normal temperatures pour into the west. And then as we reach Christmas Day, we see a massive cold front take place here. Arctic air pouring in a fashion we haven't really seen since the beginning of winter on December 1st. And I would suspect that by the 26th, 27th time frame, these areas would have cold centered over them as well, according to this model. So let's just move back to the simulated radar. Let's backtrack this a bit and see what happens after that Miller B nor'easter. So we get a little bit of a quieter period here all the way through, let's see, about 2 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Then we're seeing some snowfall here in the west. We could see a little bit of that going on. Also a storm trying to develop in here. Let's see what plays out with this towards the end of this model run. And we get a lot of storminess heading towards the east coast here. We see a low pressure system right there heading up the coast, but there's not enough cold available. We do see some snowfall for New England, potentially for the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes as well. But it's marginal. It's not like widespread snowfall at this point. So we need to see what the models trend towards. Right now we know they're calling for colder air to become available later on in the model runs. I would say about day 7 through days 10, so the long range. So we're going to have to watch that closely, but it is the longer range, so we want to take it with a grain of salt. Anyways, for today's confidence tab, we're at a 4 out of 6. Obviously, we talked about the short range, the medium range, and the long range. We walked through the entire next 10 days, so we're getting a very middle of the pack confidence tab there. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Lear the Pan, Mandy Birchfield, and Patrick Strickland as well. I would also thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalessa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Cindy Klein, Alan Goodmaven, Bill Dallas, Gary, John Cloisy, Dwight Phelan, Stephen Cornenthal, and Thomas D. Barr as well. I would also thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox also. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.